Juicy Squeeze. That is a new name for that.
Yep. Hey everybody, welcome back to Chortle Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Jake, and with me as always, the Stream King, the Far Cry guy, the Bowing Bowman, Steven. What's up, buddy?
Hi, how's it going?
It's pretty good. Pretty good. We have a great time here, Steven. Mostly just before we start recording, then we have a great time, and then it's gonna be a good time as we continue to record. But we get silly, you know. We get goofy here. We haven't had no alcohol. It's a Sunday that we're recording this, and I'm goofy.
I don't know about you because I can't see you, but I'm currently enjoying a can of Dr. Pepper cream soda.
I don't know about you, Steven, because I can't see you, but I am also enjoying a delicious can of Diet Pepper cream soda. Hashtag not sponsored, but if you
could be,
we could be.
Let's
take a moment, Steven. Have a real audibly pleasing sip of your. Here, can we cheers? Cheers, me. Ding.
Ding.
All right, cheers. Love that Diet Dr. Pepper cream soda. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Chortle Cast, the official podcast of Chortle Games, where we talk about video games, TV shows, movies, anime, whatever the heck we want to talk about, like Diet Dr. Pepper cream soda because it's delicious. Again, not sponsored, but hey, we got a great show for you this week. We're going to be talking all about the Xbox Games Showcase. We're going to talk about Ghost of Tsushima and, whatever else comes up. We'll see. Maybe Bug Snacks, because I love Bug Snacks and Steven hates Bug Snacks, apparently. And we might have to fight about it, but, it's what friends do. They fight about things.
But we'll still be friends as long as we have our Dr. Pepper cream soda.
This podcast is best enjoyed with the Diet Dr. Pepper cream soda.
I was watching Friends. I'm watching through Friends again. Mm-hmm. So here's a very quick catch up for you from me.
This is pre-catch
kind of pertinent to talking about that pre catch up. Yeah. One, if you've seen Friends, Chandler's my favorite character, obviously. Like there was this one part where they were trying to get one of the characters to go to the dentist, and she was like, no, I can't see my dentist right now. And Chandler just goes, you see, that's the problem with invisible dentists. Like he's just that person. But I was watching the episode with Joey when he had the hernia, but he just lost his medical insurance. Mm-hmm. So he's going around trying to get jobs. Like he's an actor, but he has a hernia, so he can barely move. And so he's doing a dog food commercial, and he's like standing there. He's like, and that's why you should get Purina One dog food. Pick up a bag today. And he just stands there, and they're just like, Joey, that's when you pick up the bag. And he just goes, exactly, but doesn't pick up the bag. And he's like, I was thinking we do more like I point to it. And so it's like Purina One, point to a bag today. So Dr. Pepper cream soda, point to a can today.
Wow. All right, let's jump into the news.
Wanted to talk about Friends, I guess.
Hey, Friends is great.
Go ahead.
And Dr. Pepper is great. Cream soda.
Friends are great, almost as great as Diet Dr. Pepper cream soda.
Okay. Xbox Game Cast Showcase that aired. What was it? Thursday. We finally got to see
maybe
Halo Infinite. Lots of good stuff. I didn't get to watch it live. I went back and watched a playback of it. But Steven, you got to watch live. So what I'm going to do...
I started watching live, just to clarify, right after State of Decay was announced, because I got a text from Andrew and from, I think, Brody that was just like, State of Decay just got announced. I'm just like, wait, there's something happening today? But I did watch the rest after that.
It was Xbox happening. So, whatever. It's funny, you, in my circle, which admittedly is very PlayStation and Nintendo heavy, you are the only person that's been real positive about this show.
There is a very good reason for that, and we'll definitely be addressing. But I wouldn't even call it the Xbox showcase. Or even say that, like, Xbox brought it or anything. It's the Microsoft showcase at this point.
Yeah.
Like, I can't say, oh, wow, I can't see what Xbox has in store. I can be like, I can't wait to see what Microsoft has in store and the partnerships they want to show us. Like, I can't even say Xbox because Xbox is just basically non-existent.
Right. Because you're doing everything with them. Everything they're doing is going to come to PC, and that's what you have. So you're just going to be playing everything on Xbox on PC.
Yep.
And it's everything they showed at the game showcase is coming to get Xbox Game Pass, which continues to be the best deal in gaming. So what I thought
really is. I spend $5 a month, and I'm going to be able to play Destiny, which we'll get to that too. But Destiny and all of its expansions is included in that $5 a month that I'm spending to be able to play all these games. That's crazy.
Stupid crazy. I wish PlayStation would do something like it, because that would be just insane. But anyway,
so if Xbox would start doing good, then the PlayStation would stop knowing that they don't have to do anything. PlayStation's just like, we're just going to be over here doing the same thing we've been doing for years. You guys keep literally eating your own tail.
All right, let's. So what I thought we'd do, because I've got one or two things that I saw from the showcase that I was actually excited about or curious about. Steven, you've got lots of stuff. So what I figured we'd do is I'm just going to go down this list, and you can stop me at anything you'd like to talk about. We'll go from there.
Yeah, and a lot of this, I probably won't have much to say about it, but I saw it and I was like, heck yes. I want more information about that and that and that. Yep. It was just a lot of games that I've either played in the past that we're seeing more of, or it was stuff that was just like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. That sounds awesome. So it was a lot of stuff that just has me like, I'm so excited that I have a PC and I can't wait to hear from these games again in 2 years.
Exactly. So the first thing they started off with Halo Infinite. We got to see our first gameplay of Halo Infinite. They had an extended look after their kind of gameplay demo, talking more about it. Master Chief has a grappling hook. It has a very open world kind of feel. Any thoughts on Halo, Steven?
I didn't see anything.
You missed that one? Okay.
From Halo. But I have heard so many things.
Halo, unfortunately,
people have not been happy.
It's a series that has so much behind. Like it's such a big franchise, and they've got so many Halo games at this point that you're not going to please everyone, right? Like your audience has just gotten too big. So with this, it's one of those things that it's going to be, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I think it's probably good that they finally showed this, because for a long time, this was kind of their big exclusive that they still hadn't shown, So I think it's exciting that they finally showed that off. From what I watched, it looks good. I've never been a Halo person, so I'm not.
Halo is one of those things that, like, the example I use, there's a character, I use a lot of TV analogies, like for shows that I've watched in the past, because I just spend so much time multitasking, watching TV shows. There's a character from this show called Community. You need to watch it. If you haven't watched Community, watch it. It's amazing. But his name's Leonard. And he's this like 82-year-old man that goes to community college, but he keeps getting in with like these different crowds. Like at one point, he's like with the skaters. And so they're like walking around with their low pants, their backwards caps, and he's walking with them. And he's just like, hey guys, this is bitching, like stuff like that. And I feel like that's Halo at this point,
right?
Because they keep trying to be like, hey, cool. Look, we're that game now. Like, hey, you remember us? You remember all the good times you had with us? We're still here. We're still doing cool stuff. And I don't know. They need to either really change Halo to where they can let go, like leave Master Chief alone, do something else in the universe, like give us something new that takes place in that same kind of atmosphere, but stop just trying to remind us that Master Chief exists was our hero at one point, because we've all moved on,
right? For
the most part. And so until they are willing to do that, Halo is just going to be that one thing that Xbox players have to look forward to, because let's be honest, if Halo was on PlayStation 4 or in the PlayStation lineup, or if there were other Xbox exclusives that people cared about, Halo would not do well. Well, in my opinion,
we will see. We will.
I loved Halo at one point. I did.
Right.
And there are going to be forward compatibles of at least one Halo. So I loved Halo, but it's just either let it die or let it be something else.
Let it have its God of War moment.
Yes.
All right.
Give us a new Spartan.
There you go.
Let Master Chief go away.
Let Master Chief go. All right. Then State of Decay 3 was announced. They had a CGI trailer, which was freaking dope, by the way. Did you watch the CGI trailer?
I didn't.
Okay.
I heard that there was a zombie deer, and that's all anyone can talk about. Yes, there was a
zombie deer. It was very cool. I forget exactly how it starts, but it's this woman, and she's kind of like hunkered down. I think she's maybe cleaning her. No, she's whittling an arrowhead, and she looks up, and it's nighttime. She's around a campfire, and there's a wolf, and she kind of stands up and gets her gun or her something, and the wolf runs off. And then it's the next day, and she's walking around, and she starts to see blood, and so she's like, "Oh, let me follow this, see if there's something I can hunt." And she comes up on the wolf being eaten by a deer. And it was just like, for me, it was just like, whoa, what is this? But then, yeah, State of Decay. Yeah. Steven, you're a big State of Decay fan. You already said this is what got you into the showcase. So what are your thoughts?
So I didn't play much State of Decay 2. Loved State of Decay 1. That was one of the last just phenomenal Xbox exclusives. It's funny how similar, just to give examples of like, if people aren't familiar with State of Decay watching this, it's like Watch Dogs Legion, what they're talking about it being, before Watch Dogs Legion was even like a thought.
Right.
Because you play as a community of survivors, and each campaign you play, most of the survivors are random, and they can have random perks and quirks and backgrounds.
Perks and quirks. So
that's actually a term that they coined. I remember back when they first talked about the game, and I was like, that's a good way to put it, perks and quirks. But State of Decay 2 expanded on that a good bit and added co-op, which if I had someone to play it with would be awesome. But I just never got to play, and that's why I never got into State of Decay 2, because while it did have co-op, it did feel distracted at parts, and I don't really know how else to say it. It was definitely buggy. It was super buggy.
Right.
So maybe not as polished was the problem with 2. So I'm really looking forward to 3, but I hope that we get a balance between the two, where you still have those enhanced features, the co-op, the bigger and better, but give us the polish that the first game had, and don't just kind of set it and forget it, like,
right.
Keep loving the game after it's come out, make sure it gets support. Because that's the kind of game that if you give it attention, it can be like a No Man's Sky kind of game, like one that you continue to update and people will keep playing it. Even if it's expansions that you're like releasing, like it's the kind of game that does what it sets out to do better than most other games in that market. And that's a very saturated market.
Right.
So I hope it's good. I will definitely be trying it on Games Pass when it comes out.
Yeah, it seems like a couple of weeks ago, I know it was probably a year, but it feels like a couple of months ago, State of Decay 2 came out. So that kind of caught me off guard, that they announced the 3.
To put in perspective, I played State of Decay. I streamed it. I streamed State of Decay 2 on this channel. I streamed it on my Xbox One at my old apartment, not the apartment before this house, at the apartment that I lived at till the beginning of 2019. So it's been at least 2 years since that happened. Probably 2.5 years come October or something like that. So it's been out for a long time. It just doesn't feel like it's been out for that long.
Crazy. Then, of course, they had their Forza Motorsport reveal because we got to talk about those teraflops and that ray tracing and how that all is going on your racing games.
Were there any Legos this time?
Was there any what?
Were there any Legos this time?
I don't think so. I didn't.
Not interested.
Not take it away.
Give me the Legos and then we'll talk.
When I can drive a Lego car, you have my number.
I mean, for real though, the only time Forza has ever gotten my attention was when they did the Lego expansion. They had me glued when they did that, and they've never been able to do that since.
Oh man. Then this is like one of the only things I really was interested in. Everwild, which is
This is when I started watching. Was Everwild. So
this is a new game by Rare. Which I like Rare a lot. But anyway, they really just gave a quick look. It's this magical world where you play as an Eternal and you're building a bond with nature. And it's got this kind of cryptic trailer that goes along with it, but the art style looks awesome. Obviously, I'm a sucker for anything that's going to have magic in it. So I'm very, very curious about what that's going to turn out to be. This is one of the only things that was like, I'm not going to be able to play this. And so I want to. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to either get a PC or, I don't know.
Build a PC. Build a PC. There's like, imagine, don't let Lee Allison hear this because she'd kill me. Imagine the potential that we would have for like games we could play on the channel if you built yourself a PC.
I know.
It'd be crazy.
I've thought about it.
So great.
I've thought about it. Believe me.
Cool.
I've thought about it.
Yeah.
I just don't want to.
I knew that when you said there was only one game that you were interested in at this entire thing, I knew that it was either going to be Everwild or Grounded.
And see, Grounded is one of those. So very ironically, this has happened to me before with Xbox. When they announced Scalebound, right? I was like, yep, sorry, I've got to get an Xbox now. And I bought an Xbox. And then they also showed, and man, I can't even think of what it was called, Recore. Is that right? They showed Recore. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put that on pre-order too. Because if I'm already getting this for Scalebound, like I'll probably enjoy that one. And then Scalebound got canceled, and Recore is the only game that I ever played on my Xbox One, and then I sold it. So here we are.
Cuphead.
Oh, that's right, Cuphead. Cuphead was worth it. Cuphead was the thing that turned it all around.
But it's on Switch now, so.
It is on Switch now, so there you go. Maybe Everwild will come to Switch. What are the odds of that? Do we think that could happen?
Considering it's Rare, as in the developer, not uncommon, that's very possible. Because that seems like a Rare move would be to... Just the fact that they're called Rare makes this so hard to say. It seems like something Rare would do. Releasing that for Switch, just probably not at launch.
Right. Yeah. So maybe there's hope. We'll see where it goes. Oh boy. Anyway, maybe Xbox Game Pass will eventually come to Switch, like we've all hoped for a while.
Hey, I wouldn't put it past them.
I wouldn't either.
I'm half expecting Phil Spencer just eventually be like, here at Xbox, it's really important to us that I give $15 to every single guy who owns a PC or a Nintendo Switch out of my own personal wallet. So here's $15 every month.
Wow.
He's basically Santa Claus at this point. If he looked like he was high all the time.
God bless him. All right. Then they
bless him.
They did a release date announcement for Tell Me Why. Ain't nothing but a heartbreak.
I almost texted to the group that line from that song. But I decided, nah.
The whole time I was watching that trailer, I was just like, man, this is a missed opportunity, because they could have timed it right with the title screen at the end. They could have timed that all perfectly for a Tell Me Why. And then, but
I think that would have been a little bit of a tonal disconnect from what they were going for with that game.
Well, it could have worked though.
Yeah.
So, this is like it has a very telltale feel.
It's Life is Strange.
Life is
Strange
kind of feeling. It's about you're playing as twins who share a supernatural bond, and you explore a small town in Alaska. coming out in August. Whoop-dee. They talked about
those kinds of games.
They're just not what I'm looking for.
Yeah, same. Like, they're not my cup of tea. Sometimes they just seem really cringy because they just all seem so angsty.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the vibe I got from this. And it's like, I'm not dissing it, saying it's bad or anything. It's just that I just don't want anything.
I actually
to do with
really
this
like
one.
the art direction of it. Like it looks fine. Or actually, I think it looks pretty good. I just, knowing what kind of game it's going to be, I just don't really want to. It's not a type of game that I'm always going to want to get. Like, there might be a day where I'm just like, you know what? I'm just kind of feeling something like one of these, and I could play through it, but it's not something that I could get hooked into.
Yeah, sometimes I can play, like, the game needs a very special hook to get me into like the Telltale style choose your own adventure kind of thing. Walking Dead, I played that one back when it came out, and that one just did such a good job of balancing choice and telling a really good human story. Mm-hmm. So that was my hook there. And then we all know about how Detroit Become Human went. Like, that game had me hooked. Yeah, just from how it balanced the multiple perspectives and treated them all individually. I just thought that was a fantastic hook. So that got me. But with this, it just seemed like another Life is Strange thing, where Life is Strange was just, you're a teenager going through very teenage things. You have the ability to control time or something. There's your gimmick. With this, it was just like, you're dealing with trauma from your childhood. You have a supernatural bond with your sibling.
Right.
And so it just, not for me.
Not for me.
But it is possible for games like that to hook me. They just really need a special gimmick.
Right. They talked about Ori and the Will of the Wisp. Gave a short update on that. There is DLC coming out for the Outer Worlds called Peril on Gorgon. Steven, you're the resident Outer Worlds hype man, coming out in September.
I never even got to beat Outer Worlds.
Oh, really?
Well, it's just because, as usual with me, when I find a game that I'm just kind of like, this is a really pleasant surprise, or I'm really enjoying this game right now, there's always like certain points in the year where a game comes out that overrides that. Like, something comes out and it's just like, I either have to do this for the channel, or this is what all my friends are playing. Or it's Fire Emblem. Because Fire Emblem is like the one that doesn't really have to do with either of those things, but it's Fire Emblem. So I have to. And Outer Worlds fell into that grouping because I loved Outer Worlds. I thought it was a fantastic game. And even talking about it now, I kind of want to go play it again. So I'll probably reinstall it. But I just need to revisit it at a time when there's not other stuff coming to distract me from it.
And unfortunately,
but I'm excited.
Quickly approaching a time where there's going to be a ton of stuff to distract you.
Pretty sure it comes out the same day as Avengers.
September 9th? I don't think that's right.
I think so. It's early September for Avengers. Like, it's within the first week.
Give me a second. I will look to my handy dandy.
Which, while you're looking that up, I will say this. Speaking of Avengers, the tie-in book that I mentioned a few podcasts ago is coming out August. It's this coming Sunday. So I will be reading that. I'm excited.
Marvel's Avengers comes out September 4th.
Okay, so that's kind of worse.
It's kind of worse because it'll already be here before your DLC comes. So then they showed a new trailer for Grounded. Grounded is the co-op survival game where players are shrunk to the size of ants and they must work together to return back to normal size, while along the way avoiding dangers of hostile bugs and making use of regular objects in new ways.
Yes.
Very cute looking game. Has a fun art
I love
style.
the way they talked about it. Obsidian is low-key, I think, one of my favorite developers. Because they did Outer Worlds, they did Fallout New Vegas, Pillars of Eternity. They're doing Grounded, which is such a departure for them. Like, I never would have looked at this game and been like, oh, that's the guys that did Fallout New Vegas.
Right.
But the way they announced it, I don't know if you saw this part, but they were doing like the big narrator voice, and they were showing the backyard, and they were like, if you're ready for the biggest game of 2020, then wait for Cyberpunk 2077.
Yep.
But which I just thought that was really funny.
I thought
they handled
great.
the tone of this game really well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to try it. It is going to be on Games Pass. I'm going to get Jeremy to play it with me because I think he's excited about it too. It has a very Raft feel to it.
It has,
and he
has
adores
a bow.
Raft.
So
it does.
You know,
yeah.
They got me there, but I'm still not buying an Xbox. I may build a PC, but I'm still not getting an Xbox.
I will help you if you need to build a PC. I can get you one for cheap.
I'm getting closer and closer every day because I'll be honest, you know, everybody's playing oblets right now, right? Everybody's oogling and obbling about oblets, and have been very excited for oblets because it was in a Nintendo Indie Direct, but then they got bought out by Epic, and I guess the Switch version is just never going to happen now. So I've been following that development, and now I'm going to have to get an Xbox or a PC to play it. And so we all know the list of things that I want that I can only get to with the PC is slowly growing. So,
and with in the long run, I do think you personally would end up saving a lot of money if you got a PC because of how many games that you look at and you're just like, I think I'll enjoy that, so I'll pre-order it.
Mm-hmm.
But with services like Uplay Plus and Games Pass, and shoot, even Steam and Epic have free games and really cheap games occasionally. But like, I feel like Games Pass, especially, you would be able to just try a game out and either realize I love this game and I want it on console, or I love this game, I'll just play it here, or I hate this game, let's not spend $60 on it. So I do think that that would actually help you out in the long run, but it is a commitment because it is a chunk of money, but it's not as expensive as you may be thinking.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll think about it. We'll look into it.
But speaking of, I don't know if this was your next one, but speaking of Grounded, was Avowed next?
Yep,
for your list?
Avowed was next. So Obsidian just had a big show out today on this game's game showcase because they did Outer Worlds, then Grounded, and then next is Avowed. It's Obsidian's next RPG. It's a first-person epic set in Eora, which is the fantasy world that has been the setting for the Pillars of Eternity game. It's called Avowed, and it's already looking like it's could potentially be the next Elder Scrolls type of experience. So it does have a very Elder Scrolls feel from the trailer that they had.
I am pumped for Obsidian to tackle an Elder Scrolls type game.
Right.
Because they're just better than Bethesda when it comes to making RPGs. They're just better at it.
So next they're going to do a Dishonored. Shamed. That's what they'll call it.
Did Bethesda do? Well, technically Arcane did Dishonored, but Bethesda published it.
Yeah, that's probably how it went. Anyway.
Yeah. But I'm really excited for Avowed and even to just hear more about it because again, Obsidian RPGs rock. What's it? I was trying to think of another RPG that they made, but they've made some really, really solid games. And I don't know. We don't really know anything about it. We just know it takes place in the Pillars of Eternity universe, and it looks a lot like
Skyrim.
Mm-hmm. But it's probably going to handle its RPG elements infinitely better than Skyrim did. Whatever the next Elder Scrolls is, will probably edge it out in gameplay, but it won't be as good of an RPG.
Right.
And now that I've said that, I'm probably going to be proven wrong in a matter of weeks.
Well, we'll find out.
That's usually how it goes.
A lot of stuff going on into Obsidian, so that's exciting.
Yeah, they're the one thing that Xbox has that Xbox doesn't even really have them because Obsidian releases for all platforms usually.
Right.
But Obsidian's the one studio in Xbox's pocket where I'm just like, okay, yeah, I hope to hear more from them every time Xbox says something.
Right. As Dusk Falls was also announced from Interior Night, a new studio headed by the former lead game designer at Quantic Dream. As Dusk Falls is an interactive drama spanning multiple generations set in the American Southwest, and it focuses on mistakes of one generation and how that passes on to the next, and how two families trapped in a hostage situation grow over the subsequent decades. So again, kind of a Telltale thing. They had a very storybook kind of feel, kind of art style to this one.
I think I missed this one.
It was
I was
very
doing
short.
other things while I watched it.
It was very short, but yeah, could be interesting.
It sounds interesting.
Yeah, if you're into that, it's definitely a cool premise. They talked about Sinuous Saga or Hellblade 2, which they just basically said it'll be set in Iceland. So that's cool. Psychonauts 2 got a new trailer, and they basically
With Jack Black.
Yeah, I think it got delayed too in there. Yeah, it had Jack Black in it. So that was very fun. But I think it got pushed to 2021. I don't have that on this article, but I'm pretty sure there was something about that. Like we talked about, Destiny Beyond Light is coming to Xbox Game Pass in September. So that's interesting. So Destiny 2 is still coming to Games Pass in September. And now that Beyond Light has been delayed, I guess the expansions will just also come to that eventually. But
it's two jump on points. Because if you have someone hopping into Destiny because it's on Games Pass, what they probably don't want is for a crap load of new content to come out as they're being introduced to the game. So it may have been like they may have been prepared to drop, be like, hey, Destiny is on Games Pass right now,
yeah.
Up until they made the announcement they were pushing Beyond Light to November, and then they probably pushed the Games Pass launch to September or something.
Probably so, something like that. But anyway, yeah. So this one's kind of funny for me because, I think it was Destiny New Light. Is that what they called the
last year? Yeah.
Last year, that basically just that Destiny is now free to play. And basically you can play Destiny up to the most current expansion without, completely for free, which I think for most people, if you want to just try Destiny, that's a ton of content. Obviously with them, going into the next expansion, we're going to be losing a lot of content. So, New Light players are not going to have as much to experience going forward. But I don't know, very interesting, very exciting for people who have Xbox Game Pass. Stalker 2 was revealed. It's been a PC-only series for very long, but it's finally coming to the console. It's a post-apocalyptic shooter that looks a little bit like Metro. Steven, you were very excited about this one. Tell us about it.
So I played Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl back on my first, when I first got a PC. It was a Dell laptop way back in the day. I played Shadow of Chernobyl on that. Didn't play it too much, but played it just enough to be familiar with what Stalker was. And I feel like if I revisited the franchise today, if it wasn't so dated visually, I would probably just really enjoy it. But Stalker is, like you were saying, it looks a lot like Metro. So imagine if it were Metro, but it was still on the surface and it wasn't stuck in the tunnels. And it had way more of an emphasis on the paranormal, supernatural kind of stuff and its horror elements. So that's what Stalker is. And I'm pumped to see what they do with it.
It's going to be good. Warhammer 4000, A Dark Tide was announced.
For Warhammer 40K. That's the,
you know what, Steven?
It's 40,000, but it's 40K is how they,
okay. You know what? I'm gonna blame IGN for that one because the title of the announcement trailer says Warhammer 40K Dark Tide, but the written out version is 40,000. So you know what?
I figured you weren't familiar with Warhammer 40K,
no.
So that's I forgive you. But it is just for future reference. It is 40K, not 40,000.
Thank you, Steven, for correcting for catching me at my lowest. and raising me up, to the high points.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure the conversation we had before the podcast started was probably our lowest.
Oh man, there's never the lowest point is never achieved here at Chortle Games. We can always get lower.
That's our slogan. Chortle Games. We can always go lower.
We can always go lower. Anyway, Warhammer 40K Darktide is a 4-player co-op game set on the Hive world Terrarium. Players have to work together to survive hordes of enemies that assault them in the darkness of the far future, and it will be launched in 2021. Do you have any thoughts on that one, Steven?
I've got some thoughts.
Okay. I love it.
Warhammer 40K. There is an RTS called Dawn of War that I played a lot of.
Yes.
With most of the guys from FFG, actually.
Yes.
We used to have LAN parties back when my brother still lived here.
And when LAN
we would
parties
play,
were a thing.
Well, even after they weren't a thing, we still did them because we were cool like that. But so you've got the Warhammer series, which is kind of a high fantasy setting. And then you got Warhammer 40K, which is the same universe, but it is 40,000 years in the future where everything's in space. So that you still have orcs and everything, but you also have like space marines and like the bunch of like robot empires and tanks and like all this crazy high sci-fi stuff. But it's still got those fantasy elements. It's a really deep, lore heavy kind of, I guess, lore. Like there's a lot of lore to Warhammer 40K.
Right.
But the significance of Darktide, if I'm understanding correctly, is that there was a game called Vermintide that's out now.
Yep.
That is Warhammer, like just regular Warhammer Vermintide. So it's a 4-player co-op where you play as a selection of heroes and you go through missions and whatnot. So this is basically Vermintide in the 40K timeline, where you can probably play as like a space marine, maybe a Kasserkin from the Imperial Guard, maybe someone from the Tau Empire, just stuff like that. And I'm super excited about that because when I don't know much about 40K. I just know Dawn of War stuff. But the people in the trailer looked like Kasserkins, which my faction was the Imperial Guard. And their elite spec ops unit was called the Kasserkins. And so if you can play as a Kasserkin, I'm excited. And to any Warhammer 40K fans that we may have watching, please forgive my ignorance if I'm way off, because I'm not going to pretend to be like really into Warhammer 40K. I just really liked Dawn of War, and I really liked the Imperial Guard, and the Kasserkins were awesome. But I did notice some things that made them look like Kasserkins, like the helmets. I think they had like a logo here, and they had the plasma rifle, which was a weapon in Dawn of War. Not important. I'm defending myself. Please don't attack me. But I'm excited for it, and I hope that other people get it too, so I can actually play it.
There you go.
Because I would totally pick up Vermintide if somebody else did. But
yeah, because I think I've seen some gameplay of Vermintide, so I'm catching up where you're at. Tetris Effect Connected was revealed. Tetris Effect, of course, was a PS4 exclusive for a while, and I guess now it's coming to Xbox. It's an enhanced version with new co-op and competitive multiplayer modes that are both playable online and locally, coming in holiday 2020. The Gunk was announced. This is SteamWorld creators of Image and Form. They have a new 3D action adventure that's not a steam-powered... and there's not a steam-powered robot in sight. It's called The Gunk. It sees you explore and solve puzzles on a forgotten planet covered in a toxic sludge, otherwise known as gunk.
don't know why they called it The Gunk, but
yeah,
that's my only complaint about it. I have no real opinions other than that. I just really hate the name.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad name, but looks interesting. I like the art style. The Medium was the next game. It's due out in holiday 2020. The Medium is the next project from horror experts Blooper team. As a psychic medium, you'll investigate a dark mystery and uncover some disturbing secrets set across two realities. There will be puzzles alongside encounters with sinister spirits. This game looks spooky. I don't like.
I wish that Rare did this game, so it could be the Medium - Rare.
I hate you.
I didn't have that one like locked and loaded. I literally just thought of it and I was just like, well, I have literally nothing to say about this game, so I may as well just throw that in there.
I appreciate it.
There you go.
Phantasy Star Online 2, new Genesis was announced. So this is coming in 2021. It's the next entry in the RPG Phantasy Star Online. So there you go. Crossfire X, Smitegate Entertainment's previously PC-only series is coming to Xbox in 2020 as Crossfire X. It offered they showed a cinematic trailer for the campaign. And
I have words for this game.
Well,
so just let me know when you're done.
I was about to say this is developed, Stephen, by Remedy. So what's your running theory now?
I do not think it is connected with Alan Wake or Control whatsoever, because the game is developed by Smilegate, but Remedy pitched in and did the campaign. So I don't think it's not a Remedy property, but Remedy made the campaign for this game.
Gotcha. So
it's just going to have their touch to it.
Gotcha.
And the gameplay looked nuts. Like it looked like a first person Metal Gear kind of game.
Yeah.
Like Call of Duty meets Metal Gear or something like that. And that just sounds dope. And so I'm excited to play it just for the gameplay. But also when I heard that Remedy was doing the story, I was just like, I'll buy it. I don't even care. It could come to Games Pass and I would be kind of tempted to purchase it just so that I could just show my support to Remedy, because they're fantastic.
Anywhere they kind of touch, Steven wants to be there.
Yeah. I just love them as a developer so much that I just want to see them succeed. So I hope it's good.
I hope it's good. They closed out the show with their last. They slung one last hook that sunk into me. They announced a new Fable and so they had a little CG trailer with a fairy and a lot of talk and a big thing at the end that's just like new Fable or whatever. So
I'm gonna toot my own horn for a second.
Yeah.
The moment they showed like a fairy on the screen and the guy started talking, I texted the group. I said, "This is Fable."
Yeah.
I could just tell, because
the voice
I hope
had such a distinct Fable feel. I don't know.
It did. And also to me, like it was, as soon as I saw the fairy, it was just like something's gonna kill that fairy, and it's gonna be like a shock moment, and they're gonna play it for laughs, and they're gonna be like, "This is Fable."
Yeah.
Because Fable's always had that kind of. I hope that its sense of humor has matured a little bit,
right?
Because Fable is the kind of game where, like, you play it if you're the guy who thinks it's hilarious when you go up to an NPC and you fart in their face 5 times.
I was about to say, it's got a very fart joke humor.
It's the fart joke humor game. I hope that it's matured a little bit.
Yeah.
In more ways than one. But yeah, I'm excited to just hear that it's not a dead franchise, because
we haven't had one since 3, I think.
Well, since the one that came for Kinect, but I don't know if we're really going to count that.
Yeah.
But to me, it could end up being very much not, Duke Nukem Forever, how that game came out.
Yeah.
And when it came out after like 15 years, if not more, of development, it did horribly. And because everyone realized, oh, this was a lot funnier when I was 8 years old.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And when the game didn't mature with its audience or with the industry, people realized, yeah, this isn't good anymore. This was good in the early 2000s/90s, but not so much anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like that could very much happen to Fable.
Yeah.
So it has this chance to adapt, to evolve, whatever. So we'll see if it does.
Yeah, I kind of echo that same thought and feeling. Fable has always been one of the series that's been on Xbox, that it's one of the only ones that I cared about. And I remember I would go over to Brody's place. We'd have a sleepover when that was like a thing that people did. And we would play through a Fable game because it would be my only time to get a chance to play through that. So,
yeah, but the thing about Fable is that it at that time, Fable 2 and 3 were were really the only games of its kind that you could play with a friend, like an open world choice featuring RPG, which is why I kind of seriously say that Outward exuded some Fable energy.
Yeah.
But my point being, Fable just kind of had to show up back then. Like, it didn't have to show out. It just kind of had to do that thing. And people loved it, not because of the fart jokes or the sense of humor, because the humor was usually god awful, but they loved it because it was a unique experience. But that experience is very much not unique anymore. There are other games that do it better than Fable ever did. Like, if you went and played a Fable game today, you'd be like, this is awful. This did not age well.
Right.
So it needs to realize that. It needs to realize that it can't just be like that. People don't love it because it provided an experience then that you can't get now. People loved it because it was providing something unique that only at the time was unique.
Right.
So they can't just expect nostalgia to drive them home on this one.
Yeah. That nostalgia will get them to the door, but then they've got to show us.
Yeah,
something
it'll get a purchase, but that's about all it'll get.
Yeah. So that's the game showcase. You know, like I said, there were really only two things that I pulled away from that, saying, okay, I'm interested. But kind of to echo your sentiment at the beginning, Steven, it's, you know, with nothing being exclusive, with everything coming to Game Pass, and it's going to be playable on PC and Xbox. It's interesting because a lot of these, we kept coming across things that were like, well, this used to be PC only, but now it's going to be on the Xbox. It's funny to me that they had so many of those call outs, because you and I have been calling out the reverse of like, oh, well, cool. Now I can play these games that have always been on Xbox on PC. So like, why do I need a new Xbox? It's a very strange. I like the idea of like, hey, we're not going to be exclusive. Like, you can play this anywhere, because that sounds very user friendly to me. It's not so user friendly that I'm going to get the two games that I care about on PlayStation. That would be great.
Right.
But I just don't see how this is going to sell Xboxes for them. But yeah, I hope it works out.
It won't.
I don't think it will either. But
yeah, and especially when like Spencer Claus himself, Santa Phil, whatever you want to call him,
Santa Phil, yeah.
He said, I think it was him that confirmed it, that there are no true Xbox Series X exclusives
for the first year.
At least 2 years?
Yeah, I think he's just said
I think
just
he said
the
2
first.
years.
But he might have said 2, yeah.
And that is like, you know how you're either brave or you're stupid. That's just stupid to say that. Like, even if there aren't, and you know that there aren't, you don't say that.
Right.
Because then it's just like, oh, well, he said that, but PlayStation's already announced some of their exclusives for like next year. So
yeah,
I'm definitely going to get that one and not the Xbox.
Well, and to your point of why would you even say that? There's so many there's so many pieces to that, because it's not, he's saying there's no exclusives, but like they kind of are, because they're coming to PC. It's not like every first party Xbox studio is going to be a third party game on PlayStation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like all these games are
Microsoft
coming.
exclusive.
Right. They're still Microsoft exclusives. They're going to be on PC or Xbox.
Yeah.
So like,
and that's yeah. Why even say
why
it?
even say it?
Because that's such a headline quote.
Yeah.
You know, like as soon as they heard that, they're probably just like, and there's my article title. That is going to get either all of the clicks or all the reacts, but it's going to get people talking. And so now it's one of those unfortunate moments where he was kind of taken out of context. But who's going to really care that much to fact check? I mean, we've got like actual, like real life issues where people won't fact check. They're not going to fact check about their Xbox.
No, not at all. Oh, well, speaking of first party and speaking of headline worthy news, Ghost of Tsushima has become the PlayStation 4's fastest selling first party original IP debut, with over 2.4 million units sold through in the first 3 days following its July 17th release date. So Ghost of Tsushima knocking it out of the park with almost 3 million units sold in 3 days. The most successful original IP on the PS4. What a great way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
And on that note, let's catch up. Steven, I know I've been playing a lot of Ghost of Tsushima. I'm pretty sure you've been playing a lot of Ghost of Tsushima. We talked a fair bit about it last week. Now that you've gotten more time with the game, have your thoughts changed at all? Or are you still, are your kind of what we talked about last time? Are you still pretty in agreement with all that?
My thoughts are still the same.
Yeah.
I still think it's worthy of the accolades that we've given it, that it's been getting. It's just because of the kind of gamer I am. If it were on PC, I would have spent a lot more time with it, because my time to game alone is when I'm in my room after I've kind of shut down the rest of the house for the night. Anna's gone to bed, and I'm like a couple hours from going to bed, maybe. So like 10 o'clock and beyond. I'm doing one of two things at that point at night. I'm either playing a game with Jeremy or whoever else may be up that late, or I'm in my room either working on some stuff that I missed during the day, or I'm playing something on PC.
Right.
So in this case, because it is a single player game, I haven't spent as much time with it since it's on my PS4. I've played a good bit. I'm in the middle of I'm at the beginning of Act 2, I think, but I've been doing a good bit of side stuff.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, my opinion hasn't changed. It's a great game. It's still beautiful as ever. The gameplay is still great as ever. I will say, I will say this. I feel like the story, from a character standpoint, did get significantly better in Act 2. In Act 2. Yeah. At the beginning, I noticed specific moments where I was just like, that's a really good moment. They handled that really well. And I noticed, especially in dialogue with Sensei Ishikawa, that the writing's really good. Yeah. Like the dialogue writing is really good. Yeah. Because it captures kind of the essence of samurai, especially in the way Ishikawa talks. He's whoever wrote him, top notch. Really good job. I'm just past starting Act 3. So like I'm pretty established in the last area. I've started going around and clearing out outposts and trying to finish all the fox dens. I got all the Sly Cooper gear, and I have done my cosplay of Sly Cooper, and it's great. And I'm now using the Sly Cooper sword as I run around. It's not his cool hook, unfortunately. That would be really great, but it is a raccoon tail looking katana, so that's fun. My thoughts have not changed either. I've, if anything, it's just my thoughts. I agree even stronger with my thoughts. I've said this before, but like the game just feels like it was made for me. Just the style of gameplay, how things play out. I really, really enjoyed. To echo what you just were kind of saying, Steven, the story just continues to get better.
And as you get to the end of Act 2, I think you'll really like the direction that it goes and kind of what happens there. I'm really, really enjoying it. One thing I talked about this a little bit. I actually streamed Ghost of Tsushima Friday. If you want to go watch kind of a more leveled up character play. I didn't do any story missions, so you can rest easy there. But something that I think this game does that is interesting and something that I really like. I just started Act 3, right? I have unlocked every technique, every ability. I've unlocked my entire skill tree. I have all of the armor sets that I want fully leveled up. I think I have all the armor sets. I've got my bow and sword completely leveled up, and I've still got all of Act 3 to do. Like, I pretty much once I crossed the threshold of Act 3, I did one mythic mission to get my last mythic ability, and then pretty much after that, I hit max level. You know, I've got everything I could possibly need to play the game how I want to play, and then some. And that never happens in games. I don't feel like. I feel like normally there's that one more item or that one other ability that you're not going to get till like the very end of the game, or you're going to have to really grind to have enough skill points to be there. I grinded pretty hard, I'd say, on the first area, just because I was just it was just brand new, and I was going every direction, and I was like, I'm going to get everything here, and then I'm going to circle back around. Once I got into Act 2, I felt like that happened a lot more naturally. Like I went to one place and just kind of got distracted along the way, and then before I knew it, I had done everything but the main missions, and it was just like, wow, that didn't take any time at all. And then going into Act 3, I had everything, that I could have wanted. So,
I feel like to your point, it with games like that, normally by the time the third act starts or early on in the third act, you do have everything, and that the rest of that act kind of acts as a test for everything you've learned. But you are correct in saying that, and I'm not correcting you. I'm just saying that like, that's usually what they do, is that the third act acts as the ultimate test. But I'm at the beginning of Act 2, and I've almost completely upgraded my skill tree. Yeah. And if you look at the stuff in Ghost, as opposed to other open world games, normally they do a lot of stuff where it's like, you can't get this till you've reached here. Ghost doesn't really do that. Like, your skill tree is just open for you for the most part. There are a few, I think, Ghost tools that have to hit a certain point, but for the most part, you kind of can go whatever direction you want from the beginning. And I really like that. That was you're right. You usually don't see that.
Yeah, I think
that's a welcome.
Legend of Zelda was one of the big things about Breath of the Wild was that first area, once you unlock all the different runes, like that's it. Yeah. Like once you got that, you're going to get abilities at the different temples. But you don't really need those abilities. They just kind of enhance the game. Like you have every tool at your disposal at the very beginning. So that was always really cool. But
which is funny, because I feel like the opposite, like the whole you don't get everything till towards the very end. I feel like that was maybe not necessarily implemented, but I feel like it was popularized by Legend of Zelda.
Probably.
And just the tool progression that came with it.
Well, and Metroid, like Metroidvanias.
That's very true. Yeah, Metroid was big about that,
because that you literally can't progress without certain items. But anyway, all that to say, I'm still loving Ghost, and I've had a great time with it. I've gotten to the point now that it's like I have to beat it so I can let go, because I am just in like a chokehold of like, I have to play this. This is all I want to play. This is all I want to do. And I've got to break that before it affects
Yeah.
other things. So.
See, to me, I totally understand that feeling. Because that's usually how I am with like new Ubisoft titles that I've been really excited for, or basically just highly anticipated games. Like for me, I'm going to blow through the campaign for Avengers super quick, so I can get to like the end game stuff. Same probably with Watch Dogs, but for me with Ghost, I've been fortunate enough for it to be a slow burn to where like I'm not constantly being like getting that feeling of being pulled back into it, to where I'm just like, I have free time. This is all I want to do. I've been fortunate to where I can definitely take my time with it, and I'm glad about that because it is a very good game for that. It's so good. Where you can just pop in and just kind of be, and I have done that a few times where it's just been like, I've got like 20 minutes of free time. I'm going to go check out Tsushima, see the world, kill some bad guys, maybe do a side mission. But I've been very pleased that that's been how this game has been for me. Yeah. Cause I know that feeling that you're talking about, and I'm glad that I don't have it with this one.
Well, and it's not to say it's not to say,
yeah, it's not hampering your enjoyment, but it's one of the better games to be able to put on the back burner, I think.
Well, and exactly. And for me, it's like, I've been waiting for this for so long, and now that it's here, I want to get all of it. I can't get enough. And so I'm going to be sad when I finish, because it's going to be like, I've done everything. But anyway,
I totally understand. That's how I was with Fire Emblem. Good Lord. That's probably the best example. Fire Emblem. I blew through that game.
See, but the good thing about that is it's on the Switch. And the Switch you can take anywhere. Yes. So it's like you always have it with you.
That's also that's a bad thing, Jake, because I would fully charge my Switch while I was playing my Switch handheld while Anna was doing something like watching TV. And then when I went to bed, I would take my fully charged Switch to bed and play till like 3 a.m. on my Switch in bed, because I can do that, because the Switch is
go anywhere.
Like a gift and a curse.
Yep.
It's like King Midas. Everything you touch turns to gold, but everything you touch turns to gold. It's like, you can take it anywhere, but you can take it anywhere.
Wow. Was there anything else, Steven, that you've been playing that you want to talk about?
Let me look.
You don't have
some
to.
Stuff. I'm gonna be
sure.
I'm gonna be trying a roguelite called Void Bastards and a 4X strategy game. I have no more to say about it. I heard it was good. Called Age of Wonders, Planetfall. I'm gonna be trying those games soon.
Okay.
They're on Games Pass for PC, so I'll probably have more to say about those next week. And playing more Moonlighter again.
Oh yeah.
Really random.
Yeah.
But I've been playing through it again because I remember that there's so many Switch games where this happened, because every single time I say something like, I'm playing this game again, it's usually a Switch game that had the unfortunate fate of being played by me right when another game came out. And Moonlighter is one of those games. So I've been playing through Moonlighter some, making more progress. And of course, Division. I'd reinstalled Division 1 just to kind of get perspective on where Division 2 is. Like what Division 1 does well compared to what Division 2 does well. And in case I ever wanted to play Resistance, Survival, or Underground again.
Right.
So I've been doing that. And it's been very interesting to get perspective on that, because especially, and this is all I'll say in my catch up, so I don't get off on a tangent. So literally just cut me off at the end of this if I start ranting again. But I started Division 1 on PC just because I was like, I need something to do. And I played through the very beginning, and then I was like, I'm just going to reinstall this on console. But the live action cinemat or cutscene that plays at the very beginning, I'm going to have to send it to you, because it's so real to today. And it's just like, ooh, this is this touches a bit too close to home. But I just thought that was interesting, because Division 1's story and writing and dialogue and everything were just so much better than 2. And it's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
And there were just more game modes. But the one thing that Division 2 does have And you know what? I'm here. This is the last thing I'll say because it is Division related. The one thing that Division 2 does have that I'm glad to say, it's pretty cut and dry that it's better at this is its build crafting. There's just much more variety and different things to do. There's a set called Future Initiative. I've probably talked about it a ton, where when I heal someone, I send out a heal of 60% of that amount to everything around me within 5 meters. So see, I said I wasn't going to talk about this specifically because it's literally a mechanic that I'm the only person that's using it.
Do I need to just cut you off?
No, I'm gonna talk about it because I want to brag and have some kind of evidence that I did it first, because it's a matter of time. The story's gonna break, or people have been doing it this whole time and I'm just that blind to what's actually happening in my life. But so that set makes it to where whenever I heal something or someone, I send out a heal around me. There is a hive called the Artificer Hive. It targets skills and upgrades them. It heals them. It increases their efficiency, resets their duration a little bit. Basically, it just is the skill buffer. So I've been wanting to make a build that is basically like a pet build, like my Ranger on Guild Wars 2 works, where 2 comparably effective combatants being controlled by 1 person. So in that case, it's me and my pet. So 2 places at once basically was the concept. And so I've been trying to make that work for a while in Division 2. And then it finally hit me to try something. So the Artificer can fire off of your back at your skills, but you have to place it to target other players' skills. So I use the drone, the striker drone or the turret. Usually the drone, but the turret I use if I need more damage and if we're locking down a position. So when I have that out, I've got all these effects that say when drone does this, you do this. When you do this, drone does this. Basically a symbiotic kind of thing going on to where I'm buffing my damage from what it does by double. And then I'm buffing its damage by what I do by double. So we're crap load of damage. But the Artificer, when it heals the drone, there's an assumption, and I'm hoping that this whole thing is intended and just no one's talking about it. The assumption is for Future Initiative, the set that I wear, when you heal a player, that's when the heal sends out. But the Artificer heals for a percentage of a skill's health, and skill heals count as heals. So Andrew, my brother, who runs tank builds all the time, the highest armor, just to put this in perspective, that he can achieve or has achieved in the past is 2 million armor. The turret's health, the turret that I place, has 5.2 million health, I believe. So when the Artificer says, whenever it buffs a skill, which is every 10 seconds within a radius, it heals for 73% of the skill's total health. And so when I send out a 5 meter radius heal of 60% of the heal amount given, it's 73%. It's 60% of 73% of 5 million, which I'm going to just take a shortcut for the math for you. It's a full heal for anybody. So I'm running a healer, high damage summoner pet build that uses no healing skills whatsoever, and is outpacing the damage of someone built specifically for summoner damage, just running max skill tier with turret and drone at the same time. I'm outpacing that damage with one or the other while doing a full heal for everyone in my team within 5 meter radius every 10 seconds, with that number going up if someone else was going to drop a skill. It's like Jeremy, if he drops one of his skills, that also procs my AoE heal. So I've basically created a monster of a build that no one else is using the mechanic of. And I'm so proud of myself.
That's so impressive. I don't know.
No one's talking about it. No one has put together Future Initiative works with Artificer because everyone's too focused on Foundry Bulwark breaking the game, basically. And so I tried that and I was like, I'm telling no one this. So now I'm going to tell the 20 people ish that actually watch the podcast. And if any of you tell anybody in the Division community, I'll know. But I'm basically just waiting for them to nerf it.
Yeah.
I don't think they will, because there are certain steps, like it doesn't proc on the shield, which is really important, because if it did, then it would actually break the game.
Right.
Because then you could just use a shield and then have the RD on your back, and you could just be full healing yourself every 10 seconds and your shield. So that makes me think that it was intended, but no one's caught wind yet except for me.
Right.
And so that's kind of what I've been running, and it's a monster.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Chortle Cast. We do hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, there's a couple things you can do to help us out. Number one, if you're watching on chortlegames.com, if you're watching on YouTube, you're already at chortlegames.com. You can like this video, share it with your friends, leave a comment, all that good stuff. We also stream on Facebook and Twitter at Chortle. Both are at Chortle Games. And then we're also on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Chortle_games. So check us out on whatever platform
That's
you
the
like.
symbol underscore, not the word underscore.
Correct. Stephen is...
I'm being facetious.
Thank you.
No one should think that when someone says underscore, that it's an actual like...
Type underscore.
No, you don't type underscore.
How funny.
It's just the little line.
How funny would it be if that was like a password?
That's why we're dead on Twitch.
Well, I wasn't thinking that, but I'm just thinking of, wouldn't that be a funny password, like underscore, and like one of those is the word, but you don't know which. You know what I mean? So like it could.
There's a bunch of symbols, but which symbols are typed out? Which symbols are symbols?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying. There you go. That's a free tip from Jake today, everybody. You just learned your next password. But anyway,
in case you're wondering how to have to reset your password 3 times in 1 month,
God,
Jake just gave you the tip.
Yeah, I just gave you the best tip ever. The podcast airs every Monday at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. We also stream throughout the week. Normally, we stream on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Thursday, you can usually get me and Steven doing something together, like Destiny or Outward or whatever. Right now, it's been kind of on and off because we've been doing forward compatible. Steven has been streaming Watch Dogs. Steven, you streamed Watch Dogs a little bit Sunday night. We're getting very close to the end. So your plan is this week, we're going to knock it out, get it done. So
that is the plan.
Be looking for Steven streaming tonight. That's Monday night. And if he doesn't beat it then, maybe we'll see him Tuesday, Wednesday.
I mean, maybe I beat it last night. Who knows?
Who knows? We sure don't, because we're in the past.
The best way you can find out, though, is if you join our Discord.
There you go.
Which link is in the description. But also, what goes really well with joining the Discord is a can of Diet Dr. Pepper cream soda. The lighting's bad there. Diet Dr. Pepper. What is going on? Cream soda. The can is reflective. It was a worthless plug. I'm sorry, Dr. Pepper.
I agree that Diet Dr. Pepper cream soda is delicious. And I'm holding up my garbage can.
You said that like
full of Diet Dr. Pepper cans. This garbage can is literally just Diet Dr. Peppers. So
the way you said that sounded like, and it's because I can't see you, and because I think you were like lifting something, so you sounded like you were
far away,
distracted. But it sounded like you were reading off of a note, and someone had a gun to your head. And you're like, I agree. Dr. Pepper cream soda is.
Nope. I was just holding up my giant trash can of Diet Dr. Pepper cream soda. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Steven, thank you for being here. Thank you for drinking Diet Dr. Pepper cream soda. We'll see you next time. Bye.